Welcome everybody to the music show. I'm Ray Braselton, your host.
And I'm Nick Rita, co-host.
Well, today's band was the Imaginary Band.
And it's a
but
real
it's
band.
a real band,
It's a real
right?
band.
And they're from the early 60s to, I guess the band
Well, the
evolved.
music they play is from the early 60s.
Well, we're from the early 60s.
We're from the early.
But we really think you'll enjoy the band. They do a lot of songs by the Doors, and
They do a lot of Fleetwood Mac, too.
a lot of Fleetwood Mac. They
fact, they
specialize a
yeah,
little bit with
right.
Fleetwood Mac.
Right. Well, in fact, we're going to talk a little bit about tribute
Yep.
bands. And
Well, that'll be during the showcase that we have
Right.
today. Instead of the instrument showcase, it'll be called the tribute band showcase, probably. And,
apropos name.
yeah,
Yes.
very apropos. And we'll also do the interviews with them, so you get to know who they are, of course, and the round table ought to be interesting, getting to know kind of how they formed, and a couple of them, in fact, four of them. Well, there's two couples married.
Two couples, right?
Yeah.
That's. I was wondering how you were going to say
You
that.
did.
I knew what you wanted to say,
knew
but
what
I
I
was
said.
wondering what you were going to say.
But
Yeah,
very
two couples, right.
very. They
In
end
fact,
up being
the two
good
couples
friends.
were here before.
They were, and they were here with Entwined, which was a
Entwined,
couple
if you
years ago. We
remember
had
them,
them over.
yeah.
But they have really grown. It's now 6 in the band.
6 of them.
And I
with
think
the
they have
keyboard.
yeah,
Steve is not playing guitar tonight. He's doing the percussion.
doing the percussion.
Right.
That is, yeah,
The drums.
The drums.
And a bass player.
Yeah.
Of course, Lisa and
The two girl singers,
girls,
right?
two
So
singing, yeah.
six vocalists actually in this group.
Right. They all
and-
do some vocals. That's
yeah.
right.
So I think you'll really enjoy them. We have, of course, we told you about the showcase, but we also have, the interview and the round table. So, you'll see kind of the costume, or I shouldn't say costume, but the dress is kind of a 60s style. So you might enjoy this show. So, everybody just hang in there and
Stay tuned.
enjoy yourself today. See you in a bit.
We are the Imaginary Band from Rochester, New York. We'd like to thank the music show for having us on tonight. We'll be doing Say That You Love Me from Fleetwood Mac.
Have mercy, baby, on a poor girl like me. You know I'm falling, falling, falling at your feet. love me. 'Cause when the loving stops and the lights go down, there's not another living soul around. Pull me up till the sun comes up and you say that you love me. Say that you love me. Say that you love me. Falling, falling, falling. Falling, falling, falling. Yeah. Falling, falling, falling. Falling, falling, falling.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ray Braselton, and this is the interview segment of our show, the music show. And we have for you the Imaginary Band, and I think that they are just a great group, and a little bit to the point where I'm feeling nostalgic when you guys are here. This is really a very nice feeling, isn't it? When you think, yeah, but you guys really enjoy doing it too.
We do. We do.
Yeah, it must be.
We have a lot of fun.
Oh, I'll bet. I mean, I see the way you guys move and everything. Even the guys. I mean, it's amazing. Usually the guys are just like a rock, you know, and the girls do all the movement. But even the guys are kind of moving, and so it's really good. And but I had a few questions for you, and I guess we'll start with introducing yourselves. Why don't we start? Would you like to start?
Okay.
Okay.
My name is Susan Janik, and I sing and do some percussion.
Yeah.
I'm Bob Janik. I play guitar and I sing.
He's
Sometimes.
a good guitar and sing. He's playing a wild guitar and he sings. Really.
My name's Ted Lincoln. I play keyboards and sing.
I'm Lisa Lowden. I do vocals and some percussion and little harmonica now and again.
And my name's Steve Lowden. I play the drums, and I sing a little too.
Hi, I'm Mark Carino. I play the bass guitar and sing.
And welcome to the show. We
Thanks for
appreciate
having us.
Thank
what
you.
you've done for us so far, and just a few questions because I know people want to know a little bit about you, and then they want to hear some more of your songs. But one thing, you're from the Rochester area, I take it, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And how long have you been together now as this group?
I'd say it's we're going on a year and a half, I think it is. Yep, about a year and a half. We practiced, we practiced for about 6 months before we went on the road
On the road, right?
in Rochester.
And it's been really kind of fun for me. My wife and I, as I tell, they probably heard, you guys heard this all already, but we do tend to go to interview bands, and so it gives us a chance to have a night out. And boy, you guys had that place packed. You couldn't find us a table. I said, well, when we get there, they'll be able to find us a table because they know us and everything. And oh, no, man, then we were way in the back. But, you know, we really did get to enjoy that. It was a little bit different than any of the bands we've had on before because the band is kind of, it goes not only into the 60s, but it's, well, what are the kind of songs that you do?
Well, basically, you know, we wanted the Imaginary Band to be 70s psychedelic type band. You know, all those favorites that we all listen to in our cars driving through the park or whatever. You know, the stuff that, you know, we usually don't hear a lot of bands playing.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. I don't really think that we've had anybody in the show doing too much of this kind of music, and I don't remember going to places and hearing too much of it. So, wow, you do pack the places, and that is really neat. More questions. How did you meet? How did you guys meet? I think you met right before you got married.
Well, if Steve and I have been together
And for that
17
matter,
years. Bob and Susan.
Bob and Steve knew each other really well.
Right.
And
Okay,
Lisa.
there we go.
We've known each
So
other
the four
for
of us
70
got together.
years.
70 years. Yeah, no, they've been friends since high school, I think, pretty much.
The four of us were in a band together.
Okay. What was, the name of
Lisa
and then
Steve and
what was the name of that band?
Entwined.
I've heard of that band, sorry. Where have I heard of that band?
We were on
You
here.
must
Show.
have seen that.
Couple
we
years
had the pleasure
ago.
of being on here.
Yeah, it was
absolutely. Ted Lincoln's been in many bands too, and you know.
Isn't Ted? Aren't you involved with the band right now too, or are you just involved with this band?
They talked me out of retirement. So just this group here, and then Steve and I and Bob have a band, Trilogy.
Who was it? The one that was involved with Ruby? No, not Ruby Two. Ruby Shoes.
Mark.
I almost said Ruby Two
Ruby
Shoes.
Tuesdays.
That's right. Ruby
Go ahead, it's the
Tuesday, right.
restaurant.
Ruby Shoes, sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And
Mark
you
is
still
currently in it.
involved?
Yes, yes.
And you play guitar there too? Or?
Bass guitar.
Bass guitar, right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. See, talking about bass guitar, because somebody wanted me to ask you about that. That's a precision bass you use.
Yeah, it's an old precision bass.
Was that the popular bass at that time that they used back then? When these? Well, you would know. You weren't around. I forgot.
Kinda, yeah, yeah. The Fender P bass is pretty popular with that music, sure.
And how about the SG? Not. I mean, I'm just guessing that was around then.
Yeah, definitely. That was SG's, Les Pauls, you know.
Yeah.
It was a big part of
Of the
back then.
'60s.
Well, and the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a lot of kids still talk about them and like them and still use them. I just was wondering where it kind of started, maybe in the '60s. A lot of those
Right.
instruments.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'm glad I got that question in because it's an interesting thing to know the different instruments. But talk about the instruments. How about the clothing style and the hair and everything? I mean, you guys really do the act well. I mean, except you could say, well, this isn't an act.
Well,
This is
yeah. Really, if you know me, you'd know that I
Not an
dress
act
like
for
this
Lisa, for
anyways. I leap right into the Renaissance Fair. But we decided to, do tribute also to Fleetwood Mac. Yeah. And, there was 3 phases of the Fleetwood Mac, so we tend to dress a little bit more like the last phase with Stevie Nicks, and it's fun.
and it does seem like you're having fun.
Yeah.
I see you guys moving and swaying. And
We have a lot of fun on stage.
Yeah.
We do, don't we, Lisa?
Yes.
I could see it there when we were reviewing you over there. So the kind of music besides Fleetwood Mac would be, can you give us a few other?
Oh, we do Deep Purple.
The Doors, of course.
The Doors. We also do Sugarloaf and Spirit and Rolling Stones.
Elvis Presley.
Elvis
Oh, do
Presley.
you?
Yep. And we really diversified.
Yeah, so you're a band for all. That's good. Do you have a CD out yet, or you're probably pretty new? You haven't gotten anything out.
We have a demo.
do have a demo,
that we
yeah.
use. To promote our band, of course.
Well, if anybody wanted to get a hold of you for a job playing out, could you give us some contact information?
Absolutely. The website is www.theimaginaryband.com. I do all the booking. I'm Lisa, and you can reach me through the website. Email and my phone number is also listed there too.
Who does your website? That's pretty nice.
That's me.
You.
I am a web designer.
Boy, it must
Wildwoods
be,
Design.
Where do you get the money to afford that person?
Multitasker, this girl right over
amazing.
here.
Oh. Well, great. Well, stay with us because we got you stay with us. We got some more songs here for to go. I think you'll really enjoy them. So stay tuned.
This song is called "Feelin' Alright."
Seems I've got to have a change of scene. Every night I get the strangest dreams. I'm imprisoned by the way it might have been. I'm left here on my own, so it seems. I've got to leave before I start to scream, Lord, before someone locks the door. Shake it with a key. And all right. Oh, I'm not feeling good myself. Feeling all right. Oh, I'm not feeling good myself. Boy, you shelter me, woman, right? When I think of you and I start myself to cry, Lord, but I just can't get straight. I guess I must get by. I gotta stop believing, baby, in all your life before there's too much to do before I die. Feeling alright. Oh, I'm not feeling good
Welcome to Uncle Nick's Corner. You got me playing again. And I can't overemphasize the necessity to get your fingers on the guitar every day and do a little bit of practicing. That little thing I was playing there, we in the workshop I do, we have some people get together, and all we do is we talk about guitar and we play guitar, and that's a little E minor thing that we started working on. And I thought the chord progression was interesting enough to share with you. We really don't have a name for it. We call it the E minor thing because it's in E minor. And actually, I think we developed it, we started working on the old Stairway to Heaven thing, and with that movable, we started to develop this one, and instead of being with A minor, it's in E minor. And I'm starting out with the rhythm part of it. Now the rhythm part of it, you could play rhythmically, strumming like this, or it could be finger picked. By the way, when I finger pick, I really like doing that because I can pick out different notes and emphasize different notes with whatever fingers I'm using. You could do it with a pick too, but for me it's so much easier with my fingers. For instance, that chromatic line where I'm starting with the root of the E minor chord, and then I'm going to the E flat, and then I'm going to a D, then the next note is a C sharp. As I'm playing, listen to it. And what that was doing was accentuating it with the number of fingers that I was using. But to get back to that, we have just a plain E minor, just a normal E minor that we're working with. After that, we're going to an E minor, but we're going to have an E flat with it. Now we can go through and technically name each one of these chords, but all I'm doing there is I'm dropping the E, which is on the second fret of the 4th string. I'm dropping that down to the 1st fret, and we're getting that. Now, one more time, we're going down chromatically to the D. When I play that D, the 4th string, and I have that chord left, it's an E minor 7. But then we're going to replace the E on the 4th string, but the chromatic note is going down to the C sharp. So it's E flat, D, making it the E minor 7, and then that C sharp, making that chord right there. I'm coming up with a form that on the 1st finger I'm using on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and the 3rd finger I'm using on the 4th fret of the 6th string. Technically what that is a minor 3rd, and we use those all over this place. In fact, when I'm to that chord, the next chord I'm going is a variation on an A minor. And I'm taking that same form that I have on the 2nd and 4th fret of the 4th and 5th string, and I'm moving it up to the 5th and 7th fret of the 3rd and the 4th string. Here's what it sounds like. Listen. If we were going to name that, we'd have to name that an A minor 9, because we have the A minor, we have an A here, a C, and we have an E. That's your A minor chord, but we're adding the open B. Now, a lot of times we move chords around, and we just move certain forms around and take parts of the chord and kind of suspend it above open strings, and it gives us a real open sound. A minor 9. So let me get to that chord from the beginning. Now, where the first chord progression where I was doing on E minor was actually lasting for 2 measures, I'm only going to play 1 measure on that. And when you have a chord like that, you can, with your fingers, do tons of things. There I'm simulating a pick with my finger. And then the next chord we get to is we're taking 2 notes out of a B chord, and we're throwing that right in the center of the open strings again. Technically, let me think, it would be a B13, B, D, F, G, A, E, B, D, M, D, F, A, right. B add 13, and we get that open sound. Now, going back to the beginning, if I was playing that without any fancy things to it, it would sound like this. And all that was a simple 1, 4, 5 in the key of E minor. But adding this gives it a lot of movement. Gives it a nice full sound, and we can do other things to it. On some later session, what I'll do is I'll bring that up and play that part which goes with that. Actually, I was playing it a little bit too long. It should sound more like. And that's the little chords up on top that add so much to this this sort of thing. But until that time, we'll be seeing you again. Remember, keep on playing. Keep on playing. You can never play too much. By the way, if you have any questions or anything you'd like covered, actually, if you would even like to have a visual copy of what we're doing here, almost every time I have some chord charts or tablature or notes that portray the music that we're doing here. So anytime you'd like a copy of that, just get in touch with us. Mike is probably putting something on the bottom of the screen as we talk as a point of contact. We'd be glad to hear from you. But until the next time, we'll see you.
Well, we welcome you. We're glad to have you at our showcase segment of the show. And actually, we're going to call this our tribute band showcase, because we decided that we would have something a little different for you today than our usual. And so I have for you, from the imaginary band that we've had on today on the show, doing beautiful music, Steve and Lisa Lowden.
Lowden, that's correct.
And actually, I've known Steve and Lisa for a while, because they were on the show a couple years ago or so before. So with the group Entwined, but we thought we just. I know that one of the reasons I thought about doing this with you, with the tribute band idea, was because you do specialize with your band for a certain group, I believe. And you want to tell us a little bit?
That's correct. We love Fleetwood Mac, and Fleetwood Mac also, started back in the late 60s. So there's been 3 different types of bands with Mick Fleetwood, and Peter Green was the original guitar player, and it was more of a bluesy band. Then they went into Bob Welch, and there was Christy McVie, who was married to the bass player. So it's kind of, and then Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham came in, and they were married. So there was all these, and that changed the dynamics of the band. But we enjoy it. So we do a mix from all.
You do a little bit from each.
Absolutely.
From each era.
Yeah, absolutely.
But of course, you do a lot of other groups and everything.
Right.
But that is a kind of a tribute to them that you do. And,
absolutely.
And I know you have a high regard for them. And I believe on the show today you're doing a couple. So, but what is a tribute band? I'm not sure, I guess you're not really a tribute band, but what is a tribute band?
Well, I think tribute bands are usually, musicians who would like to celebrate the groups that they're very, happy with and familiar with.
Usually the more famous ones, I would assume.
Yeah. Well, it probably only makes sense that it would be the more famous groups. Right. But you'll see a lot of tribute bands with like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and Fleetwood Mac and some of the bigger groups. But I think the concept of a tribute band is more about the the celebration of the songs and even the celebration of the
band.
era, the band itself.
The band itself, yeah.
The era.
And most of your tribute bands seem to be, what, the 60s, early 60s, or does
Not
it,
necessarily. Now, there's bands that'll do AC/DC. They were the 80s, you know.
Well, the 70s was 30 years ago.
It was.
So,
Do you strive to do the song as close to what the original was as possible?
Absolutely.
So that's a big difference also between a tribute band and somebody who would do songs from a different band. You're striving to try to get the authenticity of the song.
right, tribute bands are pretty, very true to that, yeah.
in fact, they even often call them clone bands, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. You know, the equipment, right down to the equipment.
Yeah, they use it the instruments, the vintage instruments, and the clothing.
Absolutely.
And maybe even talking off stage once in a while.
Sure.
So to make the audience happy,
Right.
and playing the act right through to when they're talking.
It's a lot
to
of
them
fun.
and everything. Yeah.
Trying to get some of the original equipment might be a little pricey.
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah,
There's-
because it
It's
that
old.
falls
It's
into
old stuff.
vintage.
Right.
Old stuff
In fact,
gets to be expensive.
In fact, our keyboard player, you know, does play. He does have a Hammond organ too, but that thing's a monster to you know bring on gigs. But
He doesn't have the Leslie speaker, does he?
yes, he does.
Oh my gosh, that's something.
Yeah.
So,
I got one of those.
but he also
Do you
can
really?
recreate that sound too. So
Right.
he's so talented that you know our keyboard player's been in a lot of bands, Ted Lincoln, and he's just amazing,
Yeah.
an amazing.
Oh, you're
keyboard
all
player.
very talented.
Thank you.
I must say.
And also though the look also is something that you strive
Yeah.
to get close to also.
Well, your group has kind of that look from what would you say from what era?
Well, you know, we love the '60s and the '70s, but you know, this especially, you know, Fleetwood Mac thing. Stevie Nicks was, you know, at the end. This last band, you know, she's really played a huge part because of the way she dresses.
Right.
She's very flamboyant and dramatic.
Well, yeah, you mentioned a few groups that are pretty popular, and I thought, I mean, like the Kiss tribute band. See, I thought this interesting one was you mentioned the Cheap Chick tribute band.
Oh, that's
Instead of
an
Cheap
all-girl Cheap Trick tribute band called Cheap Chick.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah. There's lots of them. There's lots of them out there.
And for instance, the Fleetwood Mac, you know, the reason why we came up with doing this is because nobody in the area, we haven't seen anybody do it. And, you know, to have the two girls sing, we have everybody sings in the band, so the harmonies are important.
it's great, yeah.
But, you know, if you go to the West Coast, there's Fleetwood Mac, Fleetwood Macs, there's Rumors, you know.
Well, and you have Blushing Brides, is that the Stones group?
Yep.
And the Back Doors.
Yep, the Back Doors.
Right, so they, and then there's a
They're all
band. What you told me that I wanted to bring up was interesting. Is there's a Fab Full,
Well, they're the ones that
or
are
you brought
coming.
that,
Yeah,
right?
they're coming to the. Depending on when this is aired, they're going to be at the 2011 Jazz Fest. They're going to be one of the headliners at the Eastman.
In Rochester.
And they're going to. I haven't heard them and I haven't seen them, but they're supposed to be Beatles, Fab Faux.
Did you
Faux, the F-A-U-X, meaning the false.
Right,
Right.
that's clever.
Yeah.
Okay,
Fab
yeah.
Falls.
I think they're like Steve was mentioning earlier. I think they are from France, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken. But I may
it
be
probably
mistaken.
is. Even like probably the Beatles out of all bands is the most copied or tributed band.
And one that's real popular is Beatlemania.
Beatlemania has been
Probably
around
the-
for a long time. I think there's one called Rain that comes around.
But you were talking about one, a Japanese.
Yeah, well, we spend a lot of time on YouTube, and we came across this Japanese Beatle tribute band that just sounded and looked exactly like it. It was incredible.
No accents.
Little bit. Just a
okay.
little bit, but you know,
Just
I'll tell
enough
you
so that you
something.
would know.
They were fabulous.
Well, we have these people play at different venues. What kind of venues would these tribute bands play at? Like the festivals, and I'm sure it'd be one venue.
Yeah.
Big
Well,
auditoriums.
I think they also do concerts. They book concerts like anybody else
Yeah.
would.
Right.
You know, they would book a tour and then do concerts
Most
along the
of
tour.
the time, if you're strictly tribute,
Yeah.
they'll usually have somebody opening for you,
Yeah.
and then the tribute.
Right.
Because to do 3 hours
Right.
of
Right.
would be very difficult.
Right.
But it has been done.
Right.
It
You,
has been
you
done.
probably wouldn't see them too much at, or maybe I'm wrong. I was thinking like weddings, or you wouldn't see too much,
No,
or
nothing.
even small joints or whatever, bars.
Yeah,
or whatever.
no.
It's
you
kind of a specialized thing,
Right.
you know. And like Lisa said, it would be hard to play a full night of as a tribute
Right.
band because,
Sure.
except for a couple of bands, probably they don't even have a full night themselves.
Right.
And you guys, to get it clear though, when you play, you don't always do just Fleetwood Mac.
That's
you
correct.
do you do a variety,
We do
but
deep,
lean
yeah,
towards them.
Deep
and-
Purple, Grand Funk,
Right.
you know, the stuff in the 70s that we all grew up on, and then we mix it
You
in.
grew up in the 70s. Wow.
Oh my God.
I grew up
You're
in the
younger, wasn't
60s.
you?
Yeah.
No, wait, didn't
She's
you
a
say I
young
was
one.
I thought it was the
born? No, I was
80s.
born
I thought
in
you were
the
grew up in
70s.
the 80s.
Well, we
Your older sister told you about
That's
the
right.
70s.
That's
I
right.
remember.
That's right.
well we want to thank you for doing this special showcase segment. I thought it was kind of interesting.
Thank
I
you
thought
so much.
people would enjoy hearing, especially having a group like you that kind of leans a little bit towards Fleetwood Mac and everything. And so we'd like you to do another song or two for us, and then we'll join you at the round table, everybody. So stay tuned.
We'd like to do a song for you now by a band called The Doors, and it's called Soul Kitchen.
Well, the clock says it's time to close now. I guess I better go now. I'd really like to stay here all night. The cars go past all stuck with eyes. Street lights share their hollow glow. Your brain seems bruised with no surprise. Still one place to go. Still one place to go. Let me sleep all night in your soul kitchen. On my mind, leave your gentle soul. In the alley, I wander, baby. Your fingers, sweet, sweet minarets, speaking secret alphabets. I light another cigarette. Learn to forget. Learn to forget. Learn to forget. Learn to forget. Let me sleep all night in your soul kitchen. On my mind, need your gentle soul. In the alley, I wander, baby. clock says it's time to close now. I know I have to go now. I'd really like to stay here all night. All night. All night.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the music show. This is the Round Table part of the show. I'm Ray Braselton, your host.
And I'm Nick Rita, co-host.
And today we've had for you Imaginary, the Imaginary Band.
The Imaginary Band.
Right, and this is Lisa and her husband Steve, and they are a big part of that band. And of course we have the others on it. Do you want to mention their names?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We have Susan Janik, who's our soprano, and she also does percussion, fabulous voice. Bob Janik, her husband, he plays lead guitar and vocals as well. We also have Mark Garino, and he plays bass as well and does vocals.
And Ted Lincoln,
Yes,
Ted
right.
Lincoln.
who is our keyboard player.
Right, and
Vocals.
we hope
And
you
vocalist.
you got to enjoy part of the show today, or all the show today, and they did a lot of great numbers and a lot of older numbers by older and or I mean different era of the Fleetwood Mac group, and of course the Doors and a few of the other ones. So today we just glad again to have you on the show. We want to go over a few questions for you. First of all, I'd ask you how you met, but that would be too private because you met when you. How old were you?
Actually, I was 35 actually when I met Steve, and he was in a band called the Avengers, which was you know, kind of a 60s type British
Tribute band.
tribute
To
band.
the 60s. Not really to a group in the 60s, but,
But
to
just
the
to
60s.
you know, to the 60s. So that's how I met him, and he was playing drums.
And you weren't playing at the time?
no, I was dancing.
Oh. I
That's
believe
about
that.
it. I was
Yeah.
dancing, and I became very smitten.
Yeah, very smitten.
Yeah.
Well, it's gone to a large extent into the 60s type band stuff. I know you were on other groups before. Maybe you could tell us. You said the Avengers is one of the first groups, and what other groups?
Yeah, the Avengers was a band I was in, and the Insiders was a band I was in before that. Actually, I've been playing for quite a long time. I started playing drums when I was about 12. My brother Brett is a little bit older than me, and he's a guitar player. And he turned me on to a lot of the music that I like now. And so it kind of just fell into, I'm a little bit younger than the music that I like. Does that make sense? I think
Yeah,
that makes
it
sense,
does.
right?
There's a lot of people that are younger than the music they like.
So I've been in a lot of different kinds of bands and some original things too. But we kind of connected on a musical level with some of that older stuff and kind of worked out pretty good.
Yeah, we all have those stories of how we first started. I don't know, I've never really heard Uncle Nick's stories. He won't tell me. But but I know that with me.
Picked up a guitar and started playing.
Yeah, well, see, with me, I picked up the broom and started playing.
Yeah.
Because we were doing the air guitar thing
Oh,
of
absolutely.
the Beatles when they first came out.
Sure.
And actually, to be very honest with you, the Beach Boys were popular at the time too, but when they came, I didn't know how to play guitar, so we started on stage pretending. But that's, with you actually got started with drums or kettles and pans.
Kettles and pans. My mom's kettles and pans. Yep, that's where it all started.
And then from there you went on to other groups also, I assume, or
Yeah,
how many groups were you in?
Oh, wow, there was quite a few.
There were a lot of groups.
You know, you're in bands and
Yeah, come
bands
and go,
come
yeah.
and bands go and
Right,
people
yeah.
come and go. And
But you ran into your wife and got her involved with music, and she really wasn't involved with music that much before.
No. When I met Steve 17 years ago, I was a dance teacher, actually, modern dance. So, you know,
That explains the moves.
So
Yeah.
I was wondering.
So, you know, it was a great way to, you know, I was listening to all the 60s stuff, and it was very cool, and I was enjoying dancing, but as time went on, it was probably not even a couple of years into our relationship, he encouraged me to sing, And I wrote a lot of music. Him and I wrote a lot of music. Did a lot. You know, we have an original CD that'll be coming out in the fall.
Well, then, do we get to listen to that sometime?
Absolutely,
Put you
absolutely.
On?
Is that with the same instrumentation you have here?
Yeah,
tonight?
the Imaginary Band's going to be
Gonna be
recording
there.
it. Ted Lincoln, our keyboard player, has a studio. He has his own studio, LMC Recording Studio.
Is that
Great
in
atmosphere.
Rochester?
Yep, right in Rochester. That's where we practice. And
Well, you let us know because we're going to have
Absolutely.
you on for your originals.
so
That's
that was
great.
nice. You know, he got me going, and it's just kind of progressed. And then
And how did you meet Susan and Bob? And
Well, I've known Bob for years through playing in bands, and he was one of the guys in the Insiders, one of the first bands that I was in. And you know, we've kept in touch over the years, and
Ted, you were in with the
I
Avengers.
was in a band with Ted. I've known Mark for a long time. So it just kind of fell together. The Imaginary Band was actually truly an imaginary band at one point.
well, that's what that was my next question was how you got the name, the Imaginary Band.
Well, we started out playing just like acoustic guitar, sitting around the fire, you know, and
Yeah, we've
she'd
all
be
done that.
singing. And so we decided to kind of like, you know, go to open mics and play. And then there was a night where Lisa got up and played.
No, I sang with
a band.
With
And once she heard drums and bass behind her, that was it.
That was it.
That was it.
So I did go back to the table to all my friends and slam my hand down and said, I am going to have a band.
Oh, great.
They said, what's the name? I said, the Imaginary Band.
And it
because
was.
it was, you know, no players except for the two of us. And it just really fell
So we
into
made
place.
some phone calls, and we've
Well,
gotten together. And
It's far from imaginary now. It's a real thing now, and it's very good. I don't want to forget, but there was Entwined, which you were in, and you were on our show a couple years ago with Entwined.
Right.
How does that fit in?
well,
Entwined?
that's Bob and Susan and me and Lisa. Now
Okay.
there's just a little more
Now we have-
loudness
yeah.
and
Right.
elaborate.
And that you play
music.
guitar too, right?
Yeah, I play acoustic
Right.
guitar, and me and
Right.
Lisa are actually doing a little acoustic duo called Nightfall.us. That's our website.
Yeah.
And
I'll ask you about that.
so we have the big band. We do some acoustic things.
They're
you know,
fun.
again, you know, it's big. It's important. It's just like a celebration of song. That's kind of what it's all about, at least for me. And I think Lisa agrees with that.
Well, yeah, I just was wondering if the first group. that we-
Entwined.
Entwined. I was wondering if that was really before the Imaginary Band, or.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, it's well. I guess we solved the question I was going to ask you about where did you learn the moves. You were a dance teacher, so that.
Yeah.
So I don't have to ask you that question. You don't have
It's another freedom of expression. You know, music comes in many different forms.
Well, that's the one thing I noticed about them on stage is that you all seem to move. I don't know if they take after you or what, but boy, Susan does some nice
Yes,
moves.
beautiful.
Smiles from the ladies.
Beautiful.
And the moves are almost 60s moves, if I recall.
Yeah.
From back then. One question that we wanted to ask you is, you do so much vocalizing with harmony. How do you put that together? How do you practice that? Is it alone, just without any instrumentation, or with the instruments? Do you practice alone, or do you practice together as a foursome? How do you come up with, oh, I'm going to sing this and I'm going to sing that? With harmony.
Well, we do meet once a week. You know, have rehearsal in the studio, in Ted's studio, and you know, we try to do all the musical parts, of course. But then there's times that we don't have any. You know, maybe just a acoustic guitar, so we can get our harmonies. Hone in on just where we're supposed to be. We have 6 people singing in the band, so you want to utilize them in the correct way.
Very full sound, and that's what a big part of your band is, the vocal.
Yeah, we've kind of worked out a system. You know, we kind of fall into our harmonies.
Mm-hmm.
I have kind of a naturally lower kind of a bass voice, so I touch that microphone. And Lisa's more of a contralto, and Susan's more of an alto. So kind of we were able to naturally kind of put harmonies together.
Yeah, naturally.
You know, and it does take practice. I think it's to be good at anything.
But I think
you
you probably will find that you've gotten better over time.
Oh yes, absolutely. The
So
more you sing
practices,
together, yeah.
And you do it mostly by trial and error. What sounds good together. You don't say, well, I need to have a third or a fifth here or
No.
anything like
Oh,
that.
No, we
we
try
do it
not to
all
be a
by
slave
trail.
totally
Yeah.
to
Right.
a record. I mean, you know, you'd like to, but
Right.
you know, I think everybody, as far as the musicians in this band, have a lot of passion. So I
we can see
I
the
like
passion.
them to, like when Ted Lincoln plays or when Steve plays his drums. You know, you want to keep it, you know, as
Right.
true as possible. But I also like to see them express their love for music. You know.
Well, I can see you all seem to be pretty good friends too. Just the way you react after you're done with the job and everything. It's
Yeah,
really
we
very
are.
good friends, and that helps a lot with the band. And
Yeah, we have
And you
fun.
also seem like you have fun. Like you like doing it. Like it's fun for you to do, and that makes everybody else have it. My wife and I reviewed them, Suzanne and I. At what was the name of the club again? In
Mistrella's in
Mistrella's,
Seabase.
right. And I'm telling you, it was packed. You wouldn't believe how many people were there. There wasn't a seat hardly. I was lucky. I got a bar stool there at the restaurant, and we actually ate dinner. But it wasn't easy listening to you guys and eating with our backs to you. I tell you, I was up standing, looking and listening, and but it was packed. And I imagine that kind of music is a few bands that do that kind of music that I've heard. Have you heard very many groups play that kind of music?
You see them here and there,
Yeah.
but and I generally don't. I generally go more towards the jazz and stuff like that. So I'm not
We tried to,
out
yeah,
looking for that sort of thing. But I think, in recent years in Rochester, things are getting a little better as far as venues to play.
Yeah.
They're still not really as good as it could be, but
Yeah.
I think it's starting to get better. I think the Jazz Fest added a lot
Sure.
to that because it brings people awareness. And as you know, again, the Jazz Fest doesn't have just jazz. Most of the headliners
Right.
aren't even jazz. So they have, you know, a wide variety, and that opens people's the perspective to go out and watch bands and see bands. And so with that happening, it makes it more profitable for owners to have bands in. And so, and you know, there's a lot of places these days that weren't before.
Right.
So I think you do. I think that's going to help the whole, you know, all genres of music.
Right.
To,
We've been fortunate. Now we don't like to play every weekend, and there's a reason for that. Is because we'd like to keep the passion in it, and I
Right.
think that if you do it every single weekend, and you just get really tired, and it's not as fun as it is. So we try to play twice a month.
it's very important, but it's semi-part-time.
Right, we play twice a month, but
Right.
you know, when we play, we have a
Right,
you know,
yeah.
but we
That
practice
helps, yeah.
all month long. You know, I mean,
So you're
you
good
know.
when you play, and you sure do show everybody that you're enjoying it, because everybody enjoys it. Boy, you wouldn't believe the applause and the singing and everything that the people were doing when they were playing. It was really remarkable. So
Thank you.
we're so glad to have got you on the show.
Thanks
Steve.
for having us. We
Lisa,
really
it was great.
appreciate it.
And I'm sorry the rest of the group couldn't make it for the round table, but I did want to mention, if you have anything that contact information or anything like that.
Well, we do, of course, have our website, www.theimaginaryband.com. All of our information is on there, and you can also listen to our demo on that as well.
Good.
We're on Facebook. We're on Reverb Nation, which is fantastic for artists. And you can contact me. I do all the booking right through the website.
And the website design, too.
Yeah, and I do the
She's
website.
good at
Yes,
that.
Wildwoods
Contact her.
Media.
And did you have a separate website for the duo?
Yes, you could go to nightfallband.us. We play at Lemoncello's, like East Rochester. We're going to be playing at a lot of different venues this summer, outdoors. So it's just Steve and I.
Oh,
So.
that's good. If you have any questions for us, you want to get in contact with us, you'll see our website and our email and our contact information too. So feel free to call or write us at any time. And again, we thank you, Lisa, very much.
Thank you so much.
Here, I'll shake your hands.
Okay.
Thanks, Ray.
And here, I'll shake your hands.
Thanks, Nick. Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Nick, for joining us.
It's been a pleasure. It's been fun. We ought to do this more often.
We'll do this
Ray.
again.
Okay.
Especially get your thing together, your new CD. And
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll definitely contact you.
We will be back.
we will be back eventually, and just come back and join us every week. We have a lot of different shows for you, different types of groups, and So we'd love to see you next week on The Music Show.
But now it's gone. It doesn't matter what for. When you build your house, then call me home. Yeah. And he was just like the great dark wing within the wings of a storm. I think I had met by match. He was singing and undoing. And undoing. The laces, undoing the laces. In the sea of love, where everyone would love to drown, but now it's gone. It doesn't matter what for.